Have you ever wondered why living in New York is so expensive? It's a question that puzzles many, whether they're New Yorkers or just curious onlookers from afar. The cost of living in the Big Apple is notoriously high, but let's break it down, shall we? When we talk about the cost of living, housing is one of the first things that comes to mind. And boy, does New York take the cake on this one. The average rent in New York City surpasses that of many other US cities. Just imagine shelling out around $2,000 per month for a one-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn. And if you're dreaming of Manhattan, well, you'd better have deep pockets, because you're looking at an average of around $3,000 a month for the same space. But it's not just the rental market that's astronomical. The prices of homes in New York are equally sky-high. According to data from the National Association of Realtors, the median home price in the New York metro area is over $500,000. That's more than double the national average, folks. So you might think, maybe I should just buy a house outside the city and commute? Well, think again. The suburban areas surrounding New York aren't much cheaper. In fact, some of the most expensive real estate in the country can be found in New York's suburbs. Westchester County, for instance, consistently ranks among the top in terms of housing costs. Now compare this to cities like Dallas or Atlanta, where the cost of housing is significantly lower. You could buy a sizable house in these cities for what you'd pay for a small apartment in New York. So it's clear that just securing a roof over your head in New York can put a serious dent in your wallet. But what about the cost of everyday life? Well, buckle up because we're just getting started. Stay tuned for the next segment where we delve into the daily expenses in the Big Apple. Living in New York isn't just about paying for a place to live, it's about everything else that comes with it. Imagine waking up on a typical Monday morning and sauntering to the local grocery store. The price tags on the shelves might just make you think twice about your breakfast choices. A simple grocery basket in New York can cost you significantly more than it would in other cities. Picture paying up to $7 for a gallon of milk or $5 for a loaf of bread. Add in fruits, vegetables, meat, and other essentials, and you're looking at a grocery bill that's around 20% higher than the national average. Next, let's talk about getting around town. You could walk or cycle, but let's face it, in a city as big as New York, public transportation is a necessity for most. A monthly Metro card will set you back over $120. That's about 25% more than what you would spend in other major cities in the United States. And if you prefer hailing a cab or using a rideshare app, well, let's just say you'll need to loosen those purse strings even more. Then, there's the cost of dining out. Sure, New York is a foodie's paradise with its diverse range of cuisines and dining experiences, but indulging in this culinary adventure comes at a price. A simple meal at an inexpensive restaurant can cost you around $20. Fancy a 3-course meal at a mid-range restaurant? That could be upwards of $60 per person. And let's not even get started on the cost of a cup of coffee or a pint of beer. New Yorkers pay nearly twice the national average for these everyday indulgences. The cost of everyday life in New York is staggering, but what about the entrepreneurs who want to set up shop in the city? Scene script. Imagine having a dream of opening your own retail shop in the heart of New York. Now, let's see how much it costs. If you're an entrepreneur with a vision, New York City might seem like the ideal place to set up shop. The city is teeming with potential customers and the energy is infectious. But before you sign that lease, you need to understand the real cost of doing business in the city that never sleeps. The average cost of retail space rentals in New York City is staggering. For a modest 700 square foot space, you could be looking at anywhere between $13,000 to a whopping $30,000 a month. That's right, a month. And remember, that's just the rent. You still have to factor in utilities, insurance, inventory, and staffing costs. These astronomical prices serve as a formidable barrier to entry for many budding entrepreneurs. Even if you have an innovative product or service, the high cost of retail space can make it difficult to turn a profit, let alone break even. It's no wonder that so many New York businesses are fighting to stay afloat. But why are prices so high? Well, it's simple supply and demand. New York City has a finite amount of space and a high demand for that space. This drives prices skyward, making it a challenging environment for small businesses. Yet despite the high costs, businesses continue to take the plunge. Why? Because New York City offers unparalleled opportunities for exposure and growth. The city's diverse demographics mean a wider customer base. Plus, there's a certain prestige that comes with having a New York City address. It's a city known for its hustle and resilience, a place where dreams can and do come true. So, is it worth it? That's a question only you can answer. It comes down to your financial resources, your business plan, and most importantly, your determination. The cost of doing business in New York can be prohibitive for many, but is it worth it? Well, for those brave enough to take on the challenge, the rewards can be great. But as with any business venture, it's essential to go in with your eyes wide open. Despite the high costs, New York continues to attract millions of people each year. It's a paradox, really. On one hand, you have the astronomical costs of living. On the other, the magnetic pull of opportunities, diversity, and a lifestyle that's hard to find anywhere else. New York is a city that never sleeps, where dreams are nurtured and big ideas come to life. The city is a melting pot of cultures offering a rich diversity that adds to its charm. Its unique lifestyle, marked by a fast-paced rhythm, a love for arts, and a taste for world-class cuisine, can make the high costs seem worth it. There's a certain energy in New York, a vibe that's both invigorating and inspiring. It's a place where you can be a small fish in a big pond, yet still have the chance to make a big splash. In the end, living in New York is a costly affair, but for those who can afford it, the city's allure may just be worth every penny.